What's a hard-hitting life lesson you learned way too late in life? Story 1. The importance of setting boundaries and saying no. Turns out, people won't love you more for sacrificing your own well-being to please them. Wish I had known that sooner. Would have saved a lot of unnecessary stress and burnt-out moments. Story 2. Work-life balance is critical, and hustle culture is stupid. The only people who notice all those extra hours you put in at work are your family and friends. Story 3. A lot of high-paid executives aren't in that position because they're the most successful one in the room. They're in the position because they prioritized their career at the expense of everything else. Some people are so poor, all they have is money. Story 4. You're never going to please everyone, so might as well make the most of life and do what makes you happy, as long as it's not harming anyone else. Story 5. That I am capable of success. I spent so long doubting myself and not doing things because I didn't think I could. Story 6. Knowing when to mind your own business and when to speak up is life lesson that takes time. But once you know when to react or retract, life flows much more smoothly. Story 7. Don't share everything with family. Not everyone has what we think of as a family. Most of us have blood-related acquaintances living in the same home. Leave it at that. Never overshare. Story 8. For me, it's all about tomorrow is never promised. My husband died very suddenly, and for a while I gave up on life. I became very ill and had to be flown to hospital from the tiny island we lived on. Somewhere during that scary flight, I chose to live. That was 7 years ago, and I'm now living a very full life, working PT and traveling as much as possible. Story 9. Work less, spend time with family, enjoy your hobbies. Capitalism is a joke. You'll make money if you actually find something that you enjoy doing anyway. Don't break your back for someone else. Don't be anyone's slave. And most importantly nowadays, don't let anyone suppress your freedom of thought. Story 10. Your most important relationship you'll ever have in this world is the one you have with yourself. If you find too much of your happiness to be reliant on things outside of your control, other people, it's time to take a step back and work on your relationship with you. Story 11. Age 71 now, in bed all the time. Life is too short. Find something you enjoy doing regardless of the pay. Find someone you like regardless of looks, etc. Have lots of sex. Don't work yourself to death. Die with a smile. Story 12. It's not the devil and an angel on your shoulders whispering in your ear. It's toddler you and adult you. The more you listen to adult you, the better things get. Story 13. You have to take chances sometimes. And although it can be scary and outside your comfort zone, you'll never know what could have been unless you go for it. Story 14. I agree with many of the life lessons shared here. One lesson I learned way too late in life is that taking care of my mental health is crucial. I used to prioritize work over my well-being, which led to burnout and unhappiness. Now I understand the importance of self-care and setting boundaries to maintain a healthy mind. It's never too late to prioritize your mental health and make positive changes in your life. Story 15. Debt can wreak havoc on your life, so avoid it as much as possible. Credit cards, in particular, should only be used for extreme emergencies. If you get used to buying only what you can pay cash for, you will sleep much better at night. None of this is easy in this day and age, but you won't be sorry if you live by it. Story 16. You can do everything right and still lose. For example, doing all the possible due diligence on picking a spouse and still end up in an unhappy marriage or an unhappy place due to things outside your control. Story 17. Noon gives a shit what happened to you. They care about how your current behavior affects their lives. It doesn't matter if it was not your fault, or a mixed bag. If you can't keep it from impacting others, get help, or go away until you do. Story 18. When in doubt, say less. It's perfectly okay to take some secrets to the grave. Never trust someone with a history of drug addiction with anything important or critical. Some people talk a lot or overshare. Never give them any sensitive or critical information. Being friendly with someone is not the same as being friends with someone. Aim to be friendly with everyone, but maintain strict admission requirements for inner circle stuff. Story 19. Your reality is not reality. It's real to you and only you. You could ask a group of 20 people, what color is the sky, and get 20 different answers. 18 people answered some kind of blue, 2 people answered green. 'Cause people. Of the 18 that answered blue, one might say cobalt, one might say azure, another might say light blue-gray with white wispy clouds. None are wrong, they're all correct to the person that said it. Reality is perception, and everyone's perception is different. Even if you say the same thing, see the same thing, feel the same thing, the reasons behind each individual's answer will be different. Story 20. Eat well and take care of your body. I was a broke college student and would skimp on eating in some dumb attempt to save money. I legitimately tried to not eat, so I could buy an expensive bike and golf clubs. Better than buying drugs, I guess, but it was so stupid. I was way underweight and all around not healthy. Now in my late 20s, I am fit and gained probably a healthy 25 to 30 pounds. I no longer skimp on food. I value food. Story 21. Adults might change their routines, diets, style, or opinion about certain things, but they do not change their true characters and tempers. He is not going to get nicer to you if you get a baby together. She is not going to stop arguing like crazy after the wedding. He is not going to stop cheating because he loves you and not those 60 girls before you. She's not going to stop hitting and beating you if you keep saying sorry. Stop believing in empty promises, because thousands of people every year end up in torture relationships, horrible marriages with unwanted kids facing living between two parents who hate each other just because one of them was naive and blind to red flags which were there all the time. Story 22. Choose optimistic friends and interact. Communicate with them as much as possible. Great attitudes go a long way in this world, from working to socializing, from good times to the not-so-good times. Having those friends that offer the bright side can be hugely influential in how you carry yourself and how you respond in adversity. Story 23. That taking the high road is for you and your peace. Not to be good to someone else, because that's what a good person does. It's for you and not wanting to stick your foot in your mouth months or years down the road. Story 24. Friends are not permanent, even the closest ones. Some friendships end in a thermonuclear fallout, others die out, and others just suddenly stop. I had a friend I grew up with and considered a brother, and after one session of playing Cody Ghosts on his Xbox in our living room, we never talked again. We didn't fall out or argue, we just suddenly stopped talking. Story 25. I'm almost 27, so maybe I didn't learn it too late in life compared to most people, but I feel like I learned this one later in life. Sacrificing yourself and your happiness for others will not make them love you or value you more. It will only make you resent those people. Story 26. People vary widely in how they perceive and go about the world, and if you approach relationships of any sort with somebody as though you expect them to do so in the same way, is going to be a bad time. Anytime I hear somebody talk about things like fake friends, I want to shake them and tell them to stop being stupid. Story 27. I'm still young, but the older I get, the more often I realize how correct my parents were. For as much as I hate to say it and hear it, Mother does know best most of the time. Outside perspectives, whether that be from family or close friends, are so important. They are not cherry-picking what they want to see and ignoring red flags. This goes for situations, ideas, relationships, friendships, everything. If multiple people are seeing something you can't, take a step back and check yourself and the things around you. It can make many situations a lot less confusing and stressful. Story 28. If you really want to fix your issues, you have to put in the work. This usually means years of therapy. You can't continue living like the victim if you haven't addressed or refuse to address your own problems and how you hold yourself back. Story 29. Your values are not other people's values. I often think, how can they sleep at night about some coworkers? But then I think, well, they just don't have a problem screwing other people over or lying or manipulating, etc. Things I try not to do. But they don't seem to be bothered by it. They don't value things and behaviors the same way as I do. And I am sure it's vice versa, and I look like a loser to some people. Story 30. Not everyone will have the same heart and generous spirit you do. Hold your boundaries firm and stand in your beliefs, and that my feelings and thoughts on a situation are valid whether others accept them or not. Story 31. Learn to be confident, or rather the power of not giving a fuck, or else you will be just creeping along. For example, in job interviews, if they smell you're giving too much fuck with nervous chuckles, you're most possibly not getting that job. This applies to a lot of things. Story 32. A good work environment is more important than what you actually do. This is the most important thing I've learned. I picked a subject I was interested in college, which led me to an extremely extroverted, fast-paced, loud career. I was having mental breakdowns multiple times a week and crying every day after work in my car because I felt so overwhelmed. This eventually led to my autism and ADHD diagnosis, which partially explains why my work environment was physically painful and made me feel so ill all the time. I'm still searching for a career that's not too people-oriented and not just straight physical labor. My last job fucked my body up. It's really hard, and I'm starting over completely at 28 with absolutely no ideas and no direction. If I could do anything, I'd go back in time 10 years ago and pick a different career path. Story 33. The biggest. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. Even if you are a good friend, good sibling or offspring, good boyfriend or husband, someone may still hurt you for no good or clear reason. They may still lash out instead of communicating with you about what you did or what you could have done better. And sometimes they might even hurt you, and you will never find out why. After feeling the sting of it, because you are human and you are allowed to feel pain and hurt and anger, which may or may not temporarily is the length of time for mourning, change who you are into the version of you who is responding to that, then you need to recover the confidence and self-worth that they destroyed. Honorable mentions. If they wanted to, they would. Actions speak louder than words, and anyone can spin a tale. But it takes a person true to themselves and you if they back those words up with actions. Loyalty to themselves, their ideals, and those they hold dear is priced at an all-time high right now. Always choose kindness. There's no reason to assume malice. There's no reason to be a bastion of anger and presumptions about the world and people around you. Sometimes people are just stupid, or they make stupid mistakes. Sometimes you don't like someone for absolutely no reason at all. Better to befriend the weirdo at school than to make fun of him. Those dividends could pay off in some way, even if it's small. Would you rather be known as someone's beacon of kindness, if even for a moment, or as someone of whom will be a target of their enmity for the rest of your life? There is always a choice. Everyone makes their own choices. Whether they were ill-informed or not, ignorant of possible consequences or outcomes, is not your responsibility or fault. You can see fit to ask if they'd like your advice or opinion, but if they refuse, then that's their choice. You did the best you could. And if they get angry and try to foist the blame on you, how could you let me do that? Then don't presume that they're going to listen to what you have to say, because they wouldn't even listen to you in the first place. They're feeling ashamed, and shame brings anger. Anger in themselves, a responsibility they don't want to take ownership of. So they look for a victim to blame for their own inadequacy. Story 34. Not everyone is thinking bad things about you. Look into the spotlight effect. Chances are they are not thinking about you anywhere as much as you think they are, if at all. And if they are, it is often not negative. I have a real issue with thinking everyone has bad opinions of me, when it is often quite the opposite. It takes a lot to keep the mindset that people's word about you is a reflection of them, not you, if you are being a genuine and kind person. Story 35. Every day above ground is a good day. Life is short and precious, and most folks don't realize this until they're hit with a catastrophic illness or life-threatening issues. Enjoy life and count your blessings every day. Everyone looks for heaven when it's right here in front of you. For those who think it can't get worse, trust me, it can always be worse. Take time to smell the roses and hear birds sing while you can. Story 36. To stand up for myself and fight back. If only I learned to stop being afraid of not only my bullies, but myself, and realize that I am strong both physically and mentally earlier than grade 10, my school life would have been so much easier. Yes, kids, sometimes violence absolutely is the answer, and everything your bullies say is lies to keep you weak, timid, and controlled. Story 37. It's okay to be alone for a while. Find happiness being alone, and you'll be able to find true happiness with another, but not any sooner. And remember, hurt people hurt people. Please take time to heal. That nice guy girl doesn't deserve the backlash of the hurt you are feeling. Story 38. Save money. As a 10-year-old, $20 is a lot. As a 20-year-old, $10 is all you have because you have to spend the rest of your paycheck on necessities. But still, moderation. Keep your family close. Don't put work over love. Story 39. Grief and loss is the worst pain a human can feel. Be a nice human. Apologize when you're wrong. And tell your friends and family you love them because you never know when it will be the last conversation you'll have. Story 40. Even though you are right, you will not get everyone to agree with you, no matter how hard you try or how much effort you put into explaining it to them.